Welcome to the sanctuary where good pots happen. I just wanted to say that the way Jeff says. That's how you do it. That's how you do it on the sanctuary where good pots happen.
Hey, you guys almost got a very special solo chase pod of the sanctuary this week.
And I was like, nope, can't let that happen. I gotta get on here.
Petey was like, hey, how's after 10 p.m. work?
Yeah, after you and Jonathan having to listen to you guys for 40 minutes, I couldn't go another week, without...
Don't start with me. You immediately sent, you guys did great message.
Hey, no, I did actually say that. It was a really fun episode. It's like Jonathan said, it was the house party episode where all the adults are gone and then the two juvenile delinquents can just party on the podcast.
Club Condo or whatever it is that Jeff was talking about.
You're in Club Garage. Chase is recording in his garage today.
Yeah, man. The Bramble Jam studio is actually moving to a new location, so we are remote.
We're moving into the Bramble house. We went from the Bramble studio, and now it's going to be a whole Bramble Jam house. And we got a thing on the mural. See, Bramble Jam, they had a mural, and they gave us a little torch on there.
And maybe they'll give us the keys to the house, and when they're out of town, we'll throw a house party like Jeff.
Yeah, next time Bran is in Texas, we're going to invite Johnny Fairplay over to the Bramble Jam mansion.
Heck yeah, man. So what is on the agenda for this week? I do want to bring up one very important thing first. And that is, we were off by 1 week with the double elimination prediction.
Yeah, we should talk about that first because we were so confident that we had it all mapped out and we're like, this is where it happens. What we didn't think was it's always 2 groups of 6, and 2 groups of 6 equals 12.
And we were like number 13, like, double elimination. But yeah, double elimination is happening this upcoming week. At the release of this episode, tomorrow, I believe.
And if you're somebody who is in a Survivor draft, it's always terrifying.
Yes. Let's talk about that. So right now, going into double elimination week, all 4 of our different draft teams we're going in with 3 players left each.
Should we talk about? I mean, I'm assuming some people wouldn't want to have who the teams are spoiled because I didn't either at first, and then you were texting me about how you were mapping out all the possibilities, and I was like, okay, I think I want to also be part of this. So,
well, this is what happened because neither of us like spoilers. Like, we don't like when things get leaked. But you were like, oh, dude, it's double elimination this week. I was like, oh, how'd you see that? And you said, oh, this person on Twitter. So before you could send the text and said, oh, watch out for spoilers, I had already opened it. And so I saw it. But I was just kind of like, I don't know. It really doesn't spoil much. It just kind of tells you who's going to be going to each tribal. But we don't need to bring that up because I'm sure there's a lot of people that would not want to know.
Yeah, so in case you're one of those people, we're going to spare you.
Best case for our draft, Jonathan and Kristen lose 2 players from their team, and they only have 1 person left for the rest of the season.
This whole time, it's felt like they've dominated. But it all could change tomorrow. And it will. I'm going to say it will. They're going to lose their entire team. 2 vote outs, 1 medevac.
Dang! Can you imagine if on double elimination week they also get a medevac?
Yeah, that would be crazy. One thing I have on the agenda, besides double elimination, is somebody who is going to be in that double elimination, Cedric. I want to bring up a comment that you made last week. Now, when I was listening to the Jonathan and Chase Sanctuary, Jonathan made me mad a couple times.
Okay,
but Chase didn't make me mad. There was just one thing that you said that I was like, what are you talking about?
Let's hear it.
You guys were laying out all the crazy stuff that's happened to Cedric. And you said, what if this is the new meta strat? And I'm sitting there thinking, what could possibly be, what could you replicate from Cedric's strategy? He's been in the most unique positions ever in Survivor that he doesn't want to be in. I feel like you couldn't recreate Cedric's game if you tried 1,000 times.
That is a very good point. You make a very solid point. I thought I was about to argue with you, but you're exactly right. I think what I meant was the fact that he has been so bad at challenges, but yet been in control of his tribe's voting each time.
That's tough to do.
It is very, very, especially when you're the one causing them to lose every single week. But now, I think people are going to keep him around because he's not a challenge threat.
Yeah. I think people are going to look at Say and Mary, the other two old green people, and think they're way bigger threats than Cedric.
Well, bigger threats, and also they don't really have they don't have tight alliances with anyone. As much as I love Mother Mary and I'm hoping that she goes for the win, I'm very scared going into double elimination this week because she's not a part of that big tough guy alliance with Eva and Joe and all them, and she's also not a part of the rival alliance, which isn't even really an alliance. It's just Say and her goons. Well, that leads into a deleted scene that we got from last week where we see Mary being very friendly with some of the tribe mates. You want to jump into that?
Yeah, sure. So Mary was sewing Mitch's pants, and Chrissy asks if Chrissy is speaking. Chrissy, yeah, I did the sound drop myself because Brand's not here. Chrissy asks if Mary is sewing, and Mitch says, Mary is sewing my pants so I can have them on tonight for Jeffrey.
Mitch is so funny, dude.
He's just great. The most lovable guy in the world.
He's extremely charismatic. Here's the thing about Mitch. There's no way he's going to make Final 3 because no one would be dumb enough to take him to the Final 3. He would win immediately.
When he's just so giddy about I get to have my pants for Jeffrey. How are you going to beat that guy? You're not.
He is in a rough situation though. His number 1 went home last week.
Yeah, and he looked just completely blindsided.
Yeah.
It was a bad episode. It was the first bad episode for Mitch. He had been riding so high, and then he loses his first ever challenge, and then his ally gets sent home. The only person that liked Charity was Mitch.
That was his first time at Tribal too, right?
Yeah, it was.
So just a rough episode for the Mitch dog. That brings up something that you texted into the group chat, and I didn't understand it. So if this is a personal joke, we can cut this, but okay. Jonathan says that he thinks that it'll go down in history that his greatest mistake was drafting Charity. And then you said, but if Mitch goes home next week, it'll be does it even matter that you picked her? I didn't understand.
Oh, okay. Well, I was saying that because what Kristen and Jonathan were arguing about was Mitch or Charity. So if both of them go home,
okay,
that means
matter.
Jonathan could not have possibly made a correct choice anyway.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
But, if you want to judge it by, making it in the game a little bit longer, then Jonathan made the wrong choice, which he is one to do. He's big on making the wrong choice.
We're big on making the merge. He's big on making the wrong choice.
The only other thing in that scene with Mitch was he said after he's so excited about Jeffrey seeing his new pants, he said it's so hard to know what's gameplay and what's not. And when Mary was done, Mitch was extremely happy, but there was a little bit where he's like, is her sewing up my pants an ultimate strategic winning move?
It's a gamer strat, dude.
Yeah, it's like Cedric. You got to be the new strategy to win Survivor is to sew people's pants and also to be the worst challenge player and to vote for every person on your tribe. If you do those things, you're going to win the game.
Survivor,
yeah.
Dude. Yeah, you would think Mitch would be a little bit more open to latching on to someone like Mary, especially now that his number 1 Charity is gone. But Mitch, I think he just thinks that he's in a really good position, which he is.
And I'm curious to see if Cedric tries to form anything with Mary, because you would think after he said y'all two need to cut it, he would also be invested in Mary, but I don't think we've seen a ton of them being tied at all. Well, because Mary is not interested, right?
No.
And Say's not interested, but Cedric thinks that they are.
Maybe because
not with Say anymore.
I was about to say the second that one alliance went to Cedric and was like, "Hey, are you good to? Are you sure you're okay with voting Say?" And he was like, "I voted for her twice."
Cedric's all over the place.
He really is, and that's what makes him a genius. And he's going to win the game. Here's what's crazy though: he could win the game.
He could. For the sake of our show, there are 2 people that I want to make it far just because I have put bits on them. Like with Chrissy, number 1, Chrissy is speaking. Every time she has a confessional, we get some mileage out of it on the show. And then number 2 is I've turned Cedric into a demon that pops in on the show. Right. And we lose that if Cedric goes home or Chrissy goes home.
Yeah, and I mean we'll come up with different bits,
Yeah.
of course, but the Demon Cedric bit, I mean that's just great. The only bad part if Cedric wins the game is that Jonathan would get his first ever win from Cedric.
That would be we all consider quitting the podcast moment, I think. It's like, hey guys, we built something great here. Let's pack it in. Cedric Cedric killed the merge.
Because it's like Cedric, who is like the worst challenge player of all time, and Jonathan, who's the worst Survivor draft player of all time, joined forces and won the season together.
Yeah, Cedric, I don't know. He's made me feel so conflicted because he's made all these terrible decisions, but it's like it's clear that his challenge performance part of it, him in the challenge is struggling so hard, it's really affecting him, and it's hard to watch because you can see, although he makes some out there choices, he's a nice guy.
Oh yeah, he's really great to watch too. Like there's never a time where I'm like, I wish they would show less Cedric.
I think if we got an extended cut that was just a half hour of extra Cedric, that people would sign up for Paramount Plus.
Too much Cedric.
So I have a segment that I would like to debut.
Let's do it.
And this is a segment I like to call Sorting Survivor Reddit Threads by Controversials, Episode 6 edition.
I don't even understand what this is supposed to be. I'm excited.
If you go to Reddit and you're in the comments, there is a button that you can click where you can sort the comments by top or best or new or controversial. And those are the ones that have gotten like the most upvotes and downvotes. This is people reacting to episode 6. It's some say talk in here. We'll get to that first. Newish Survivor fan. Is it common for players as bad as Say to make it this far into the game?
I think that is a controversial take. I don't think Say is bad at the game.
I think their point is that she's voted incorrectly and like been obnoxious.
I mean, she gets advantages. She hasn't been sent home. Like she is a good player.
She was 2 votes shy of being sent home, and she was also pretty close in that deadlock with Cedric.
She would have been 3 votes short if she hadn't have voted for Cedric.
Yeah, if she hadn't have shot herself in the foot just to be petty. You know, we got a comment about this on Spotify. Let's see. Claudia said, my personal headcanon is that Say thought she was on her way out and thought, well, if Cedric ends up winning, he's not having a perfect game. So, hey, it's a great theory by Claudia. And Say did actually, like, we discussed it. We were like, what possible reason would she do this? And Bran was like, there can't be any reason other than pettiness. And then Say confirmed on Instagram, I just did this to be petty.
Yeah. And you guys said I might not ever get the answer to that. So I'm really glad that she took to Instagram to clear that up.
Yeah, thank you, Say. Here's a 0-vote Reddit comment that popped up when I sorted by controversial. Say still being there feels like somebody brought their annoying kid on the show with them. Is it bring your kid to work day on Survivor? Is she just going to get votes at every single tribal council? Because that's all she's done so far.
Well, to answer your question, probably. But also, I don't think... So it seems like Say is the most like divided player, the most controversial player.
At least in these
season.
Reddit comments, these people hate her.
You either love her or hate her. I think she's extremely entertaining. I think she's great for the season. I think she's a good player. I think she's just playing a different game. Do I think she's going to win? Probably not. I don't think her social game has been solid. Like, if she had a solid alliance right now with anyone at all, maybe. But I don't think she's playing a bad game. I mean, the only thing that's gone wrong is, like, she was on the losing tribe for the first 4 weeks. Mm-hmm. And now she's at the bottom because she has a hard time not being involved.
Yeah, and I think that part of it with these Reddit comments is just like, oh, she's loud, I hate her. When, like, to me, okay, at the beginning of the show, I didn't like Say because I thought Say was going to be responsible for voting out Mary. Now that I know that's not going to happen, or at least it seems like it's not going to happen, I have come around and I've boarded the Say train.
The Say train, dude. You hopped on the caboose right before it left the station, dude.
Yeah, dude. Bran is in the front with some kind of top hat. I don't know. That's what I'm imagining.
He just
pulling
keeps
the horn.
the horn. All aboard. Here's what I think. I think that when it comes to Survivor fans, they all go, "Oh, I wish it was like old era. I wish it was like old era." That Say is old era. Say is the epitome of what an old era player was. She's making enemies. She doesn't care if she comes across a little rude or loud. She's outspoken. And now you're like, "Oh, I hate it." And it's like, what do you want him to be? Do you want it to be entertaining or not?
I know, and part of what people are bringing up is like she votes incorrectly, and I'm like, oh, who gives a crap about that? It's like, oh, Rupert didn't vote correctly every tribal, and so he can't be a legend. I'm not saying Say is a legend like Rupert. I'm just saying, she could be, and that voting correctly every time is not your Survivor legacy. Nobody's going to remember that.
In fact, some of the most memorable players of all time are because they didn't vote correctly.
I don't think those kind of comments make you angry. It's just like, oh, I think that you just have trash takes. So, with 52 upvotes, I was shocked to see this many when sorting by controversial, but somebody said, I'm getting kind of annoyed with Eva and Joe's self-righteousness. There, I said it.
Ooh. Interesting.
Is it? I'm assuming it's about the honest alliance.
I guess so. I mean, here's the thing. I've been seeing a lot of people. There's been some fans of Charity popping up in our comment section, and it.
You want to read those too?
Yeah, I'll bring those up. But the general consensus I'm seeing from some people online, especially people that are like defending Charity, saying, "Hey, any other time, if everyone knew that somebody had an immunity idol, they would be the target." So they're saying that Eva is being treated like, I guess, with like privilege or unfairly, and that leads us to the comments where there is a full-blown argument happening in our TikTok comments right now. It starts off with someone saying exactly what we just said. Charity shouldn't have played so hard, but normally a universally known about idol gets flushed out immediately, no questions asked. Kind of weird, everyone's just going to let Eva move forward with it. To which someone says, that's the perks of building a strong alliance that doesn't instantly try to blindside the person with the idol. Someone else jumps in. It's about timing. Obviously, Eva is a huge threat with the idol and soon is going to get targeted. But Charity should have known that no one would right after Eva's openness prior episode. And then that ended with the original commenter saying, I for sure thought Eva was just going to play it to get the target off her back. Next episode should be interesting. So I don't think that they were malicious when they were saying it's weird that Eva didn't get targeted. But
yeah, but
still,
some people are.
Yes.
And there are going to be people like Say and Charity, and they're not going to be the only people who are like, it's time to get Eva out. And if I had to guess, like, unless this Muscle Alliance works out, the Honor and Integrity Alliance, they go all the way, then people are going to be gunning for Eva. And soon.
Oh yeah. Well, I think Eva and Joe as a tight alliance is the threat. I don't think it's necessarily about the idol.
Yeah.
But I mean, they seem to have David on lock. I don't think David is going to be turning on them. I think that they have Shaheen on lock. The only people on their alliance that I think will turn on them is Kyle and Camilla, because
and they don't even know Camilla's in there.
Exactly. And Kyle and Camilla have been playing probably one of the best strategic games we've seen in a while.
And that brings me to some comments I saw that I didn't screenshot, but a lot of sentiment from people about this season being boring. And I'm just like,
really?
Are we watching the same thing? Because I've been incredibly entertained.
Yeah, this has been my favorite season in a long time. And that's including like 46.
Yeah, the 46 to me is still the gold standard of new era. But if this season can have as good of a second half as it did the first half, then it'll be my favorite one.
100%. Because if you go back and you watch the old Survivor seasons from like 19 to 32, that whole era, the game didn't used to even start until merge. Pre-merge was almost always forgettable to the point of like you could probably just skip to merge if you wanted to on most seasons. This has been an amazing pre-merge season.
Yeah, it's like what they say in football. The season doesn't start until Thanksgiving. It's kind of like Survivor doesn't start until the merge, and you really do feel that way a lot of the time. It's like sometimes you'd be like, I don't even know like half of these people until you get to the merge.
Yeah, but this season, I feel like, and I saw something on the Survivor subreddit about this, being like, for the first time ever, this was what their comment said, for the first time ever, I am okay with if any of the remaining players wins.
Wow, yeah. I agree.
Yeah, they're all great characters. They're all very entertaining personalities.
I was going to say maybe we should get into the confessional counts, but I'll finish out these last couple comments and then we'll look over the confessional counts, or as Bran called it, talk time one time. I like that. Talk time. And then Jonathan also like had another word for it. I forgot. He called them talking heads. So it's like everybody has their own word for it. I just call it confessionals because I know what they're actually called.
Talking head is like corporate speak.
But talk time is pretty fun. Anyway, let's see. Another comment about Eva. Eva makes me angry. Everyone was new at one point, and no one knows who to trust. These experiences she thinks are so unique to her aren't. And then someone replies, keep in mind her autism, which greatly affects social aspects of the game. And then this original poster replied, she has autism? Where did they mention that? And they meant this genuinely. And then the person under it said, LMAO, she's only told one person. And so this must have been an older thread, like where she had only told Joe, but this first person didn't see it. So she's just like, what is this girl tripping out about?
It's like, Jesus, what is That's crazy. Yeah, that must be an older thread.
Here's one that says, an all-male alliance plus Eva who wants to vote based on honor and integrity. Sorry, no. I'll root for whoever breaks that up. And then the last one in the controversial Reddit thread is, charity's so fine. Someone's got to say it.
Here's the thing about Charity. I think everything that is to be said about Charity has been said. At the end of the day, she made the episode entertaining. So
she did. And
way to go.
Like, we might have put up a clip where we were poking fun at Charity, but I'm going to say this about everyone we have ever poked fun at, ever. If you want to come on this show and tell us we suck to our face, we'll have you on and we will agree with you.
Yeah.
We'll be like, yeah, we do suck. We're just on the couch. You're the one who actually went on Survivor. We're just making jokes about it.
Yeah, we're just trying to we're just trying to be funny,
Yeah, so Charity, like if you're interested in the off season, come tell us we suck.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, it'll be great. It'll be great for everybody. So let's get to talk time.
The confessional. Guess who's number one?
Say by a staggering amount. Almost twice as much confessional time as every other player.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. She peaked in episode 1, but she has steadily had over a minute in every episode except for episode 5. She is at 12 minutes and 10 seconds of total confessional time.
Yeah.
And then right behind her, we have number 2, Eva, with 7 minutes and 41 seconds.
So that's like almost a 6-minute difference in confessional time from Say to Eva, and that's insane.
Yeah, so I'll list out the rest of them. Number 3, Kyle. Number 4, David. Number 5, Shaheen. 6, Camilla. 7, Mary. 8, Joe. Joe being 8 is pretty crazy because he feels like such a big part of the season. But 9, Star. 10, Cedric. 11, Mitch, and 12, Chrissy.
Chrissy is speaking. It's important to note that Chrissy has a total of 1 minute and 52 seconds of confessional time.
Oh.
Almost all of it is from the last 3 episodes.
Dang, dude. She capped out at 41 seconds. And then episode 1, 2, and 3... so episode 1, she got 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Episode 2, she got 6 seconds. Episode 3, she got literally nothing.
What's very interesting is Joe also got 0 confessional time for episode 5.
Wow.
Which is weird because that is the episode where him and Eva had that moment.
Looking at this is really intriguing because Mitch feels like such a big character on the season. And him being second to last of who's left is pretty surprising to me.
I would love to see someone count up screen time versus confessional time. Because people like Cedric and Mitch, they're at the bottom of the confessional list, but they are on screen constantly.
Yeah, I do think about how one person said, how is Cedric running the game, and he gives nothing in confessionals. But like you said about the total screen time, that would be really interesting because like the editors probably aren't like 4D chessing this thinking like, oh, we need to give this person 30 more seconds so that they can be number 4 in the confessional time instead of number 6. I think they're probably a lot more concerned about like just telling the story.
Yeah, as someone who has edited an episode of a reality show, the confessionals are just used like they're skimming through all of the confessionals and they're just looking for someone to say something that will help them segue into the next scene.
What does catch my eye is when scenes get deleted, scenes that were like already produced and that they had to cut, because I remember one from Kyle last season, and I need to go look at what it was. But it was just something really nice about Kyle, probably like about his backstory. And I remember watching it and thinking, if this got cut, there's no way this guy's winning. If he won, this amazing story about himself would be in the show.
That's how we felt in episode 1 of this season when our boy hurt his shoulder.
Yeah, Kevin.
Kevin hurt his shoulder.
Why didn't they show that? If Kevin won the game, they'd be showing the shoulder.
Yeah, and that makes me nervous about this moment between Mitch and Mary in this past episode. Because following that same logic, it's like, well, if Mary is the winner, wouldn't they show her sewing everyone's clothes?
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe that just wasn't that big of a moment. You know what I mean?
And now there's like 2 Shaheen scenes that have kind of felt that way. The first one I talked about with Bran, where he was annoyed at Star because Star was telling everybody a very loud story about her friend trying to give birth to a Nicki Minaj song, and then the baby wasn't coming out, so they had to restart the song, and Shaheen was just trying to meditate. And it's like, I don't know, maybe they didn't show us that because like Star was funny and they want Shaheen to be likable. And then this week we also get another Shaheen thing cut. Is Shaheen going home soon?
Here's the thing about Shaheen. I think he's most people's prediction to win the season. If they don't start showing him more, I don't think that's the case. Because towards the beginning of the season, we got a lot of Shaheen, and he always seemed extremely smart. But I couldn't tell you like something that he's done of note in the last 2 or 3 episodes.
Other than like lose Thomas, there was the whole Star saga. Pretty much everything we've gotten from Shaheen revolves around Thomas.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it is going to be interesting, but he is number 5 on Talk Time.
That's true. And, I mean, we're just now at Merge. It could be a whole new game from here on out. You know, we're really not going to know the way that the game is going to progress for the next few weeks until this week with double elimination.
Yeah, and I would say let's give our predictions on who's going home, but now that we know what the teams are, our predictions would be too detailed. So how about we project 3 weeks ahead from now? Who goes home in episode 9? And if either of us can get it.
Okay.
That would be incredible.
That would be wild. Okay, so right now, there's 12 players left in the game. After double elimination this week, there will be 10 players left. And then the next week, the following week, I think we're going to lose a bigger loss maybe. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to say that we lose David.
David, that's a good pick. I want to be right about this because it's such a ridiculous thing to try to... Okay, episode 9. I'm going to say Joe goes home.
That's a good prediction. I almost said Joe.
All
right. I went with David instead.
And if me or Chase is correct, means nothing. This is just a random throwaway game on the Sanctuary.
What if those are the 2 that go home this week for Double elimination.
That would be crazy. I don't even remember if they're on the same team or not.
I don't remember either, but we're not gonna mention it
Nah.
even if they were.
We won't go look at that.
Because this is the sanctuary where good pods happen.
That's right. And next week we have on Rome and Sue. I'm just kidding. Wouldn't that be a great guest list? Rome
We're gonna
and
make 'em-
Sue.
We're gonna make them rap battle.
Yeah, we're gonna have like the most hated roundtable next week. No, most hated new era roundtable.
We'll have Charity.
Carson, even though he's
Carson.
hated in retrospect, not really.
Yeah, he was just hated because Homeboy was trying to make a dollar. Trying to make a dollar after the season.
Trying to extort his blonde friend.
Yeah. I think that, and this is a hot take before we leave, we could hit sort by controversial real quick.
Okay, you want to talk a little 44? Is that what it was, 44? Before we leave?
Carolyn?
Yeah, Carolyn was on 44.
Yeah. I do not think that Carolyn would be as talked about online as she is if she hadn't have gone on the Traders.
When your Survivor season was 4 seasons ago, you're just kind of out of the spotlight. So good
Yeah.
on her for going on the Traders and then making herself a
agree.
huge star. I've seen so many Carolyn impressions online, and it's all about Bob the drag queen. What something about Bob the drag queen? Like, yeah, I don't even know who Bob the drag queen is, but I've heard people pretending to be Carolyn talking about Bob the drag queen.
I think they were on Traders. We've never seen Traders, and I think the goal is one day for us to do Traders for the show.
I think that their next season is going to be filming in January, or it's going to be airing, and I say
next year, yeah.
let's cover it. Why
Yeah,
not?
let's
That'll
do
be
it.
during
Let's
the
do a
off
draft.
season.
We'll do a draft and everything. I think what we should do to prepare, because we've never seen the show.
We should probably
is
watch the old seasons. Yeah.
We should watch the old seasons. Yeah.
Or else we wouldn't even know how a draft would work, because this probably does not follow the same pattern as Survivor as a game.
Yeah, I wouldn't imagine it does. But I know Boston Rob was on, so
Yeah.
I'm in.
Look,
I'm in.
Yeah, let's get in the lab. Let's get on Peacock. Let's watch the old seasons, figure out
Yeah.
how this thing works, and hopefully Russell Hantz will be on season 4.
Yeah, and then we're gonna do Deal or No Deal Island.
Oh gosh, no,
I think Boston Rob was on that too, right?
Gosh, okay. Traders is like, it feels like a big deal. I get it. Survivor Legends, do not debase yourself and go on Deal or No Deal Island. You have this legacy of being on an iconic show, and then you're gonna go be on Howie Mandel Island.
I guess they just have to make money, dude. You know,
And Howie's
I'm
not even there.
It's Joe Maglien. I can't ever say his last name. Yeah, I just love Survivor history. I love everything about this show, except for Carolyn from 44.
I thought you were gonna say Jonathan.
No.
Yeah. Well, guys, this was the Sanctuary where a good pod happened. Jonathan, we love you. Carolyn, I love you too. I thought you were fun. So I hope you come
I
back
thought
on
she
Survivor.
was fun too.
I hope Jeff lets go of his jealousy, and lets you come on the show.
When I say I didn't like Carolyn, I know we have to leave. I just mean the way that it seems online and the way that it seems she has gone. She is more likely to be a Traders Hall of Famer than a Survivor Hall of Famer.
Yeah. There is the iconic moment of that people have dunked on Franny so much, and I think this is like the only thing people remember from Franny, where she looked at Carolyn. I think this is like final tribal after the game is over, after Franny has already voted for Jam Jam. She looks at Carolyn and she goes, like, you have like had an impact on me that has like changed my life forever. And it's like, based on what? What did she do?
What did she do?
What did Carolyn possibly do over like 12 weeks in Survivor that changed, and not even 12 weeks, 26 days, that changed your life forever, Franny? You know who changed your life forever? Matt, the guy that you met there and married. But she didn't know that they were going to get married at the time, I guess. So maybe Carolyn at that point was more life-changing.
Maybe Carolyn introduced her to him.
Maybe Carolyn was the wing woman.
Yeah, maybe that's how she did. That's
And
awesome,
remember,
man.
the birdcage idol. Okay, yeah, wing woman, birdcage. It all comes back together. This has been Making the Merge.
Hey, we'll see you later this week for our main pod where we'll be talking about this awesome double elimination episode that we will hopefully be getting.
Yeah. Bye, guys.
You're about to hear some ads that help keep the lights on here in the old studio. Thanks for listening or don't listen. It's really up to you at this point. It's at the end of the show. I mean, you're listening to me. Hi. But here they come. I promise they're coming. Yep, here they are. Happy day.